Hi, I'm Edwards, and welcome to another day in life with me, and today with the Samsung S20 FE. Okay, so let's talk about why the Samsung S20 FE in 2024. When the S20 FE first came out, it was meant to bridge the gap between the A series and the S20, which had increased in price yet again. And just like the name suggests, this is the FE, the Fan Edition, which was also coined as a flagship killer. The idea behind the S20 FE was that it was everything that you need, everything you don't need. This meant that Samsung went with a triple camera array, 120Hz refresh rate AMOLED display, and wireless charging, all those little nice things, but without the glass back and without a few fancy features here and there. In 2024, this is still probably a really good budget phone, especially when you can find it for around 200 to 100 USD or even lower. And even today, it still looks pretty good with some pretty high-end specs at an affordable price. The version I have here is the 4G Exynos version, which is the Exynos 990. It's actually the same chip that was used in all of the other S20s that were sold globally. Also keep in mind this is a used phone, so the battery performance might not be as good as other phones that you could find on the web or if you had replaced the battery yourself. I'm going to keep a battery indicator down below on the bottom of the screen so you guys can see how the S20 FE does throughout the day. So there's quite a few things to do today, so let's get into this day in the life. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the performance of the S20 FE. So the S20 FE has the 7nm Exynos 990 chip, which is actually used in a lot of the other S20 and Note 20 series globally. Throughout the morning, I've been using the S20 FE for all of my daily stuff, for example, social media, Instagram, YouTube, my note-taking app Notion, and just going through all of my daily stuff. So far, the performance has actually been really smooth, and there's no bugs, stutters, or lags. Apps do launch pretty reasonably quickly, and I haven't had any issues jumping between different apps and just doing all my usual things. Now, when I use the phone for an extended period of time, I do feel that the phone is starting to heat up a little bit, so I feel like it's using more of those faster cores to keep up the performance, and this may impact the battery life. So currently it's 10-12 and our battery percentage is 85%, which isn't the greatest, so we're gonna have to see if it can still keep up the battery life while sustaining good performance. We do have 6GB of RAM, which in today's day is pretty average, but so far I haven't had any issues with reloading apps, so that's pretty good to see. But you can get other versions of the S20 FE with 8GB of RAM. So far using my day-to-day apps, everything is pretty smooth, and I'm pretty happy with the performance on the S20 FE. It gets all the things I need to get down pretty quickly. But I am a bit concerned with it overheating, and I do feel like if you do push the phone a bit too far, maybe with some mobile gaming, it might crack down a little bit. So just keep those things in mind.
There's something in my eyes, I cannot see your lies. You think that I'm surprised? Fall back into your trap, send me your eyes. Don't you think it's time for something else? I asked for something more, you gave me so much less. I wanted.
Okay, so I've gone to my company building where I want to be filming the videos for a new auto product, but let's quickly talk about the display of the S20 FE before we continue. Also with the battery, it is now 11:30 and our battery percentage is at 71%, which is doing pretty average right now. Well, let's start with the display on the S20 FE. So the S20 FE has a 6.5-inch AMOLED 120Hz refresh rate display. This was pretty cool because back in 2020, there weren't that many displays having 120Hz refresh rates. So having the S20 FE at a lower price with 120Hz was a pretty big plus for the S20 FE. At 6.5 inches, it was pretty big enough for most people, and it wasn't too small or too big, so it really catered to a lot of people. It also has HDR10 Plus certification, so it's pretty colorful, looks great in pretty much any environment, and with a full HD 407 pixel per inch resolution, everything looks pretty sharp no matter what you're looking at. The S20 FE also has a 20:9 aspect ratio, which makes it a little bit taller than other phones that are usually 16:9, but it's pretty comfortable to use still, and the brightness is pretty good to use pretty much anywhere except for direct sunlight. The only thing that I don't quite like about the S20 FE's display is that it's very reflective. And it has been a trend that has been continuing a lot with the other FE versions such as the S20 FE, which also has a super reflective display. I think it's just that Samsung's using a slightly cheaper coating on all of these FE displays to keep the cost down, but other than that, I'm really happy with this display. The other thing is that the bezels aren't quite even across the whole display. It is a little bit on the thicker side compared to newer phones, but still looks pretty good today. Alright, let's get into some shooting. Okay, got some packages to unbox. How do I open this?
Sun is down, enjoy the ride.
Okay, so working in retail, sometimes I do get the opportunity to make some videos for the company to kind of talk about how these different products that we sell can be used for customers. And today we're going to be testing out some of these auto camera security cameras, and we're making a few videos on how these things work and how we can sell them. Currently 12:37, our battery percentage is at 56%, and for the last half an hour I have been setting up these cameras. But now they're all set up, it's time to go and film them.
It won't be over till the fat lady sings. I owe you a trip cause me and you, we got a thing.
Okay, so I've just finished recording my A-roll, and I took about 11 minutes to get through about maybe 5 paragraphs. Anyway, at least I'm done. Now it's time to go and edit all this footage. Currently editing. Okay guys, I have been working on this for about an hour now. I'm pretty tired now, but let's take a look at this cool view over here. Okay, so it's 3:41 and I have finally finished the video, and I'm gonna send it off and hopefully we'll get it all approved and it will be published. Okay, I ended up having to make a few more changes, but I think I'm done for real now. It's currently 4:13 and our battery percentage is at 28%, which isn't looking the best right now. I do hope that we can make it through until the end of the day, but I have been using the phone quite a lot, which is kind of understandable, but just need a few more percent so I can make sure I can get home with this phone still alive. Alright, I'm gonna go and pack up because I have a slight mess over here.
We were both in high school. I thought I was a fool. Oh, when I was falling for you. You keep drawing me in, and I know it's a sin. But even
Alright, so it's currently 4:52, our battery percentage is at 25%, and now we're gonna try taking some photos over here. So the S20 FE has a triple camera array, which is pretty awesome because we do get the full 3 cameras. We get a 12 megapixel wide, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and an 8 megapixel telephoto lens. So it's pretty cool to see on a more budget phone. Obviously now today, these camera specs aren't the greatest and aren't really that impressive, but let's put it to the test and see how it does. The selfie camera is alright, nothing special, but the main camera still holds its own with good detail, dynamic range, and consistent colors. However, in this darker lighting condition at the lagoon, we can see the telephoto lens suffers a bit with very soft images and often distorted edges. The ultrawide still takes some decent images, but with some distortion at the edges of the image. Camera-wise, the S20 FE doesn't capture amazing photos, but the results are decent and the processing is arguably still better than other mid-range phones sold today. Overall, the cameras do perform decently, and the main sensor still holds up, but I won't say it's anything amazing for its age or price category. It primarily suffers in low lighting and struggles to retain enough sharpness with the telephoto, mainly due to the lower 8 megapixel resolution. On the subject of cameras, you may have noticed that I've been using the cameras for video, and while we can shoot 4K, I wouldn't really say the video capabilities are anything noteworthy. They do have a lot of softness and the dynamic range keeps shifting aggressively. Video is not the strongest point, but the main sensor for photos is where the S20 FE shines, especially in better lighting conditions where the details, sharpness, and overall color look very good, even in 2024. It's currently 5 o'clock and we have dropped a few percentages down to 21%. But let's talk about the software of the S20 FE. So the S20 FE unfortunately does not get the One UI 6.1 update with all those AI features, and it's still stuck on One UI 5.1. But overall, I found that the navigation, the user interface, the user experience has been pretty smooth and buggy-free, as you would expect from any Samsung product. And even today, in 2024, the experience has been super flawless, and I haven't actually entered any bugs, crashes, or lags. So on the software side, the S20 FE is still doing really good, and I don't think there's any issues with it. So from a software point of view, the S20 FE is still doing great today. Even though it won't get any of the new updates or the AI features, I still think the software on the S20 FE is super solid. Okay, we're trying to find a gift for my friend's birthday this Sunday. So taking a look at these clothes.
Oh dear.
Hopefully we'll find something good. So it turns out they don't have stock for the clothes we want to get for our friend. So we're gonna have to go and try it tomorrow. It's currently 5:40 and our battery percentage is 8%. So I've been scrolling here a bit, just waiting for my sister to finish work. But we'll have to try stop using the phone so that we won't run out of battery by the time we get home.
Turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight.
Well, I got a new package. Guess what phone I'm going to be testing next from here. Okay, so we've reached the end of my day in the life, and the Samsung S20 FE has actually just died on me. So at 7:45, we can say that it has reached a battery percentage of 0%. So I'm just going to say straight off the bat that it has not passed my day in the life. But let's take a look at the battery performance and see the battery usage across the day, and we'll talk about the phone in general. So having a screen on time of about 3 hours and 30 minutes is not the worst. It's a bit under average, and I did have other phones that only lasted 3 hours, so the S20 FE is still a little bit better than those ones. I do suspect that because of its age and the fact that this is a used phone, the battery is probably already degraded to a point where it doesn't last that long. So in all honesty, it's not too bad that it managed to last this long. I still wouldn't recommend you buying an S20 FE unless you get the battery replaced or you're confident that the battery health isn't too degraded. But if you are fine with getting about 3 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time during your day and you can handle that, then let's talk about the actual phone performance, because in all honesty, the S20 FE is actually a really good phone. I'm really impressed by its performance, its display, and the cameras are actually pretty decent for its value and worth. In 2024, you can find this phone from around 100 to 200 USDs pretty easily, and they are readily available on the market. So I do think at this price, the value proposition is actually pretty good. Overall, I hadn't had any issues with the performance, and there wasn't any stutters, lags, or bugs, which made the experience on the S20 FE very smooth. Running all my social media apps like Instagram, YouTube, Notion, they all ran perfectly fine. I felt that they launched pretty quickly and I was able to multitask pretty easily. The software is pretty good on the Samsung S20 FE, and I felt like there were no lags or stutters in the user experience or the user interface. Moving on to the display, it does have a really nice 6.5-inch 120Hz refresh rate AMOLED display. Even though it's a little bit more reflective and the brightness isn't the highest, I felt that it was still pretty usable and pretty good to still use in 2024. And then finally with the cameras, you do get a proper triple camera array with a proper wide, ultra wide and telephoto lens. Even though they might not be the most highest resolution, I did feel that the processing of these images were a lot better than some of the mid-range phones that have even come out in 2024. So overall as a package, I'm really impressed with the S20 FE, and if it wasn't for the battery life, I would have no problem recommending the S20 FE for anyone who's looking for a phone around $100 US. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope that it helped you in your purchasing decision. I'm Upwards, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.